One of the most dangerous things that ever happened to me when I was working as an electrician was in the early 1980s. I was working at Scotford Oil Refinery. I was a journeyman electrician, and I was working there in the winter. And I remember we had to show up. There was a kind of an empty, undeveloped area in Mill Woods. We had to show up at something like 7 in the morning, or maybe earlier than that. Maybe it was like 5 in the morning, some crazy time. And it was so cold. The refinery, of course, is made out of mostly steel beams, big steel vessels. I remember the diesel engines that were running the strain relievers. These are big heated blankets that they would wrap around the freshly welded pipe work at like for the elbows and things. All the welds had to be heat relieved or stress relieved, whatever it's called. So there was diesel engines running all the time, 24/7. They had to heat up those joints for I think it was 3 days. I remember there was a gigantic stainless steel pipe that came from Japan or something, and it had a flange on it on the end. And this pipe, I think, was about 3 feet, like 36-inch pipe, and it was probably about at least 3 to 4 inches thick metal. And the flange on it was probably 6 to 8 inches thick. Well, the flange had turned just ever so slightly that it didn't line up with the flange on the thing it was supposed to join to. So it had to go back to Japan and get cut and have the flange turned a 1/4 inch or whatever it was, and then shipped back to us. That was crazy. I remember when it looked like our section was going to be done, and people wanted to get laid off, or it was really crazy. There was one guy, I remember, he was just working like normal. He was a laborer. He was working like normal, and all of a sudden I see him take a piece of plywood, put it down on the ground, and lay down on it, and then he's going oh like this. And then, somebody called a medic. Medic comes over and he says that he fell down and hurt his back. So it's a soft tissue injury. So he's claiming, WCB so that he can have some income while the rest of us are still working there. But we're all going to get laid off. So we saw that the economy was collapsing. That was the last union job that we could see coming. So a lot of guys wanted to get laid off early so that they could maybe get a jump on the next possible job that comes up. There's a method there. Anyway, I'd show up to this parking lot in Mill Woods, and they had all these Greyhound buses that would pick us up. Now I learned that there was 2,500 electricians and 2,500 pipe fitters that would show up every morning. So that's 5,000 people that had to have the buses carrying them pull into a big gravel drop-off lot. You can't call it a parking lot because there's nobody's parking there. Every morning and after shift every day. So there are literally thousands of human beings walking amongst all these Greyhound buses. Well, they weren't Greyhound, they were something else. But anyway, there were these big highway transport buses pulling in, pulling out. Everybody's watching out for each other. And we're going through the gate, picking up our name tag, and walking to our section, our area. I worked in area 142 and 143, I think. This one morning was dense fog. And you couldn't see for 3 feet. Well, okay, so your visibility was about 4 feet, I would say. So everybody's getting off the bus. Now, remember, walking in fog, you're afraid to fall down, so everyone's moving slower than normal. So everyone's getting off the bus slower than normal. And the buses are going slower than normal. They're trying not to hit anybody. Okay. I'm one of the last guys out on the bus. What you do is you go around to the side of the bus, and the side doors are open. You pull your toolbox off, and then if you're the last guy, you close the door. I forget exactly how that worked. Like who opened the door, who closed the door. It was just, I never saw the bus driver get off and open the door. I mean, everybody knew how to open the doors. So I'm the last guy. There's nobody around that I can see. I'm just about, feeling my way along the side of the bus with my arm. And I can see just the side of the bus that's in front of me, within 4 feet. So it's 3 feet in front of me. So I grab my tools off the bus, I pull it off, and then I can't remember if I closed the door or for what reason, the bus in front of me, the one that I was riding on, it starts pulling out. Like this, right? In front of me. And then behind me, a bus was pulling in from behind me. And because I turned, I heard it. I didn't want to get hit by this bus. I turned around, and so at the same time, I had, it was kind of weird. I think, I have to remember it. The bus in front of me was going this way. Okay, from left to right. The bus behind me was going the other way. So for the length of a bus, I was standing in the fog within arm's reach of both buses, and each of them was pulling out. One was pulling out, one was pulling in, and they were both moving. And I remember how disorienting that was, because both the surfaces that I could see were going in different directions. I couldn't see the end of the bus. The bus drivers couldn't see me in their rearview mirrors or even in their windshield, just looking out the windshield. They couldn't see me. I decided I'm just going to stay put. I'm going to stand here and I'm going to wait until everything disappears, until I don't hear any engines running. And luckily, the buses had a perfectly straight track, both of them. So me staying put was the right thing to do. If either of them turned, I would have got smacked by the back wheel. That's one of the most dangerous things that happened to me when I was in the trade.